watching this video. It's weird. If you're watching this video, it's like, you guys are too old for it.
You were telling us about them so big.
Yeah.
I think the last one.
Yes, I don't know what else to respond to that. Okay, so 4a squared minus 9. So look in your parentheses. Ignore the GCF. It's just hanging out in front. So I look at how many terms I have. I have 2 terms, a binomial. So how do I try to factor something with 2 terms? Look at your reference sheet. Yeah, perfect difference of perfect squares. Is this a difference? Yes, it's subtraction. So I'm looking on the left side of the reference sheet. Is it a difference? Yes, it's subtraction. Can I write each term as something squared? So make a side note of it. What squared gives me 4a squared? 2a. What squared gives me 9? 3. So I can use the difference of perfect squares on the left of the reference sheet. So as I write my answer, 7b stays out front. How do I write my final answer? Ladies, stay with me, please. 2a plus 3 and 2a minus 3. Now let's see. Can I factor it further? 7b is done. 2a plus 3, it is not a difference. So I cannot use the difference of perfect squares. 2a minus 3, can I write 2a and 3 as something squared? Are those perfect squares? No, so I cannot go any further. That is my final answer. So you may have to factor 2 or 3 times to get to the final factored form. Okay, any questions on that one? Let's go down to 7. So let's look at 7. Okay, GCF, you always look at the GCF. If you look at your reference sheet, that is step 1. Factor out the GCF first. So as I look at 7, I have 8x to the 4th minus 4x to the 3rd minus 24x squared. GCF, is there a GCF? Look at your coefficients. 8, 4, and 24.
Yeah.
GCF is 4. X to the 2nd. Pick the lowest exponent. So 4 goes into the biggest number that goes into 8, 4, and 24. X to the 2nd is the lowest exponent. You have to go through and show me what's going to be left. 4 times what gives me 8? 2. I started with x to the 4th. I took out x squared, so I'm going to have a 2x squared left. 4x squared times what gives me a negative 4x to the 3rd? Negative 1x, yes. So just negative x, because I took out the 4. 4 times what gives me
negative 24. Negative 6. Do I need an x with it? No. I started with x squared. I took out x squared, so that is it.
So now I have my GCF out front. I do nothing with it. So now I look in my parenthesis and say, can I take this further? I see an x squared. So we ask myself, how many terms do I have? How many terms do I have? 3. So there's 2 options. If you look at your reference sheet, when I have 3 terms, it's either the shortcut, is there an a in front of x squared? Is there not an a in front of x squared? Is there an a in front? Or not an a? A 1. Is there a 1 in front of x squared? No, it's a 2. So we're going to have to go through that long process. So look at the 4 steps I give you on your reference sheet. What's the first thing I do? I'm ignoring the GCF out front. First and last. What's 2 times negative 6? So I need 2 numbers that multiply to give me negative 12 and add to give me negative 1, middle term, negative 1. So now I'm going to have to do the long way to factor it again. So as I look at this, what do I do with, well, first of all, what are those 2 numbers? What are 2 numbers that multiply to give me a negative 12 and add to give me a negative 1? Twelve times 1 won't add to give you negative 1. Do what? Negative 4 and positive 3. They multiply to get you a negative, and they add to give me a negative 1. Negative 4 plus 3. What do I do with those two numbers? Plug them in where? What was that? Sorry, I didn't hear you. Middle term, instead of negative 1x, I'm going to have negative 4x plus 3x minus 6. You have to put an x because I'm replacing it. So negative 4x plus 3x, the GCF of 4x squared is just chilling out front. We don't care about it anymore. But you have to put it in your final answer. So now as I look at this, if I look in my parentheses, how many terms do I have? 4. So we can go ahead and factor this by grouping. What is the GCF of 2x squared minus 4x? Say it louder. 2x. So the GCF of the first two is a 2x. What is going to be left? 2x times what gives me 2x squared? X. 2x times what gives me negative 4x? Negative 2. And then I look at my second two, 3x minus 6. What is the GCF of 3x minus 6? So plus 3. 3 times what gives me 3x? X, 1x. 3 times what gives me negative 6? Negative 2. Parentheses are the same. This is factored by grouping. So my final factored form is x minus 2. What's in parentheses goes in one, what's outside goes in the other. I cannot forget what? 4x squared. You have to put your GCF in front. So 4x squared. So I'm just going through some. Like I said, these are going to, some of these you're going to factor more than once. Some of these there won't be a GCF, so you can just factor it like normal. Some there will be. You have to look at it and decide. Okay, let's see. Let's look at 24. Trying to do a good mixture of them with you. 24 on the same page. I know we're kind of taking a decent amount of notes today, but I want to do some with you. So 24, back of the first page, Mr. Pencil page. Okay. Look for a GCF first. 4x squared y minus 24xy plus 36y. Look for a GCF. 4, 24, 36. 4 is the biggest number that goes into them. Look at your variables. They all don't share an x, but they all share a what? Y. And they actually are all y to the first, so it's just a y. Go through, write what is left. Make sure you write what is left when you take the 4y out. Let's look at each term. If I started with 4x squared y and took out the 4y, what's left? 4 times what gives me negative 24? Negative 6. I took out the y, so I have a what left? X. And then 4y times what gives me 36y? 9. Positive 9. So there's a GCF. I took it out. That was step 1. Now as you go through your reference sheet, so get used to using it because you'll be able to use it on the test, I ignore my GCF. I look at my parenthesis and I say, can I factor it further? So as I look in my parenthesis, how many terms do I have? 3. So what two options do I have if you look at the middle of your reference sheet when I have a trinomial? Do what? Is there a positive 1 in front of x squared? Yes. So I can do it the shortcut way. So if I do it the shortcut way, I have my 4y hanging out. How can I get started with the shortcut way? 2 parentheses. It should be down in your reference sheet. X is going front. This is why I give you the reference sheet, because I know this stuff is tricky. So hopefully that helps you at least know how to get started. So now, what 2 questions? We're looking at my left side of the reference sheet. This box here on the bottom left. What 2 questions do I ask myself? What two numbers multiply? If you want to use the box like this, that is fine. Multiply to give me positive 9 and add to give me what? Negative. Nope, you have to use the one in parentheses, not the original one. Negative 6. Yeah, be careful with that. You have to use the one in the parentheses, not the original one. Glad you brought it up. Two numbers that multiply to give me a positive. Not on purpose, but that's okay. I'll give you credit. Two numbers that give me a positive but add to give me a negative. Negative 3 and negative 3. Yep, both have to be negative. So negative 3 and negative 3, those go in there. So it takes a lot less work than the other way. And I think that
Number
might be
4.
it. Yes. Which one, number 4?
Fraction.
No, they do it a different way.
Okay.
Yeah, they don't do it the way I could tell you how to do it. I don't know how they do it, but they do it a different way.
Okay.
Any questions on that? Okay, that should help you get started. Like I said, I did 3 of them. You have 41. It's still a lot. This is not due till Tuesday. That's why, because I gave you a lot, I'm not making it due for multiple days. Okay? Now, you will have a work day in there. I haven't decided if tomorrow is going to be a work day. Monday will probably be a work day. We're probably going to do a review game tomorrow in class, and then Monday will be a work day. So I would come with questions Monday. That's kind of the plan. So test will be Tuesday. This is due Tuesday.
I'd do some tonight too, that way you know that